The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers continuing to reduce the water levels in Lake Okeechobee by sending it to the Caloosahatchee River and the St. Lucie estuary on the East Coast. They're going to be making a slight adjustment starting Saturday. They'll reduce the flows to the St. Lucie estuary to accommodate some oyster spawning, but officials say lake levels have dropped more than a foot over the past 3 weeks. The city of Cape Coral has invited the Army Corps of Engineers to discuss these water management issues, and you can actually listen in. This is going to be an informational meeting that's scheduled for Tuesday, March 26th at 6:30 in the evening. It's going to happen at Cape Christian Fellowship, so it's a big church, should accommodate everybody. It's right on Chiquita Boulevard in the Cape. Restoring the natural habitat on Fort Myers Beach, especially in the waters, by installing some artificial mini reefs throughout some different canals in Estero Bay. A nonprofit group called Ocean Habitats spent the whole day putting 50 underneath these docks behind the Dolphin Inn. 4 in Your Corner's Alyssa Dickert explains how they work. Alyssa?
Artificial mini reefs attract marine life such as crabs, fish, oysters, and some of that marine life feed off harmful organisms that make up red tide and blue-green algae. They act like a filter system. By eating those harmful organisms, the water surrounding the reef becomes cleaner.
The more we have, the more filtering work that's being done, the more fish and crabs are being produced that normally would not grow up, and many of them would not make it in a canal system. 100
of the mini reefs are already installed on the island, and there are 1,100 total in Southwest Florida. The city of Fort Myers Beach paid $10,000 to have 50 installed in hopes of recreating a healthy ecosystem. And coming up at 6, I spoke with the manager at the Dolphin Inn on 2 mini reefs that they purchased months ago and how they're working since they've been installed. In Fort Myers Beach, Alyssa Dickert, Fox 4 in your corner.
All right, thank you, Alyssa. A shocking act caught on a Cape Coral Ring doorbell. Take a look. Now you can actually see the man in the red shirt walk down the driveway and kick a turtle. And that sound you heard was the sound of the turtle smack into the ground. Then the man walks over the turtle and kicks it a few more times. A neighbor told police she saw the man throwing 2 turtles into her yard. The turtles were taken to that animal clinic on Sanibel Crow. One of them's got a small chip to its shell right above its head and some minor lacerations on its tail. Crow says the wounds are not life-threatening and the turtle should make a full recovery. The other turtle, however, had to be euthanized. It was a non-native species. No arrest has been made, and the woman who came to the turtle's rescue wants to know why.
I think it's horrible. I can't believe that anybody would do that to harmless turtles. It just blows my mind. I mean, why would you do this? It's very upsetting that anybody would just decide to kill turtles.
Now, Cape Coral police are telling us because an officer did not witness the incident, the man cannot be arrested. So it's up to the state attorney's office to decide whether any charges should be filed in this case. President Trump has grounded an entire model of aircraft. He made that decision yesterday. This is after the Boeing 737 MAX airplane operated by Ethiopian Airlines crashed. Remember, there was another one in Indonesia a few months ago. Now we want to give you a live look at the big board at RSW at this hour. Officials are telling Fox 4 that you are going to be seeing some delays in and out of RSW, so this will be impacting flights in Southwest Florida at this time. It might be a chain reaction. Even if some of those planes weren't used out of our airport, they could have been somewhere else. Just as a precaution, just keep your eye on the status of your flight and just get to the airport a couple hours early just to play it safe. Chris?
Well, take a look at this video here of the flight recorders arriving in Paris today from the deadly Ethiopian plane crash involving that controversial Boeing plane. French investigators are looking into them because Ethiopia didn't have the equipment to do it. And all of this is happening one day after the U.S. grounded all planes like the one that went down. Let's go to Corey Rangel, who's checking into the impact on travel.
Passengers flying in the U.S. say they're relieved after the government grounded Boeing 737 MAX planes in the U.S. after 2 recent crashes overseas.
I mean, what if, God forbid, another one happens? I mean, they need to figure it out first for everybody's sake.
I think it's probably a good call. 2 planes go down in 6 months. It's time to pull the plug on them, don't you think?
The decision will impact hundreds of flights in the U.S. Southwest hit hardest, with about 150 flights a day affected, followed by American with roughly 85 flights. For United, it's about 40 a day.
They have spare airplanes that they're going to be able to use to cover some of these. They're going to cancel some flights. You can't have a few hundred flights impacted and not have some cancellations, but they'll be able to use those spare aircraft to cover some of them the same way they do when flights cancel for other reasons.
Airline analyst Seth Kaplan adds, other issues will cause bigger headaches for travelers than the planes that have been grounded.
That, for perspective, is just not that many flights compared to, let's say, what a snowstorm can cancel. There's one today in the country that'll probably end up causing more cancellations than the MAX cancellations.
Now some are questioning why it took the FAA so long to ground the planes, especially given the concerns by so many other countries. Former FAA safety inspector David Susi questions the relationship between Boeing and the current acting administrator of the FAA, who previously worked as a lobbyist for the airline industry.
That's where I think someone had skin in the game here. This is where someone was responsible for that industry and was too close to the industry and didn't want that industry to feel the impact that grounding those airplanes would have.
Some members of Congress have now called for investigations to find out what caused the grounding delay and whether pilots have received enough training to fly the planes. I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
All right, Corey, thank you. Let's start the news. Empire actor Jussie Smollett in Chicago court today pleaded not guilty to charges that he faked a hate crime attack. His TV show Empire returned last night. You will not see him in the final 2 episodes of this season. Roger Stone heading to trial November 5th. Federal judge setting the longtime President Trump ally's court date today. Stone pleading not guilty to several charges in the Russia investigation. And a Connecticut court ruling today that the maker of the gun that was used in the Sandy Hook shooting can be sued. Families of victims, they want to sue Remington. The gunmaker argues that federal law protects them from lawsuits when their guns are misused. Look, getting your car fixed, that can obviously be a huge pain, but also really expensive. So you're going to want to make sure that you're getting the best deal with the best service department. We have some new rankings on that and how you can find the best prices on repairs. New reports out today might help us understand dementia better. The CDC is shedding light on how serious dementia can be. The numbers of deaths, that's doubling between 2000 and 2017, about 67 deaths for every 100,000 people. And we're also learning more about how genetics plays a role in developing Alzheimer's, the most common form of dementia. Scientists looked at almost 300,000 people dating back to the 1800s. If a person had a parent or sibling with Alzheimer's, they had a 73% greater chance of getting it as well. Now, there was also an increased risk going back as far as blood-related great-grandparents and cousins who had Alzheimer's. Now, doctors do maintain, though, that age and lifestyle are the biggest risk factors. The 3 things proven to help prevent or delay dementia: more physical activity, blood pressure management, and staying mentally active. Now, to learn about Alzheimer's, the National Institute on Aging has lists of clinical trials across the country on their website. Now, they're always looking for volunteers in all areas, even for those taking care of someone with dementia. More trouble for Facebook over sharing data. The New York Times is reporting that Facebook is being criminally investigated for who it shared information with without consent. Now, according to the report, 2 smartphone makers were subpoenaed as part of the investigation. Facebook says it is cooperating with ongoing federal investigations. Now, look, nobody likes a surprise trip to the mechanic. Yeah, always a pain. Not only can it cost you a lot of money, but it can be frustrating if you're without your ride. So Annie Taylor's here with which service departments are the best.
Chris, owning a car today is only getting more expensive, and the prices to buy one are continuously going up. Cars now are decked out with computer systems and fancy technology, and that's part of why the prices are so high. Now, for a newer car, maintenance, repairs, your loan, insurance, the whole 9 yards, it's costing on average more than $700 a month. That's according to AAA. So you need a reputable, efficient mechanic to keep it going as long as possible. And J.D. Power just did a customer satisfaction survey of service departments, both at dealerships and independent garages. Buick ranked the highest, followed by Mini, Mitsubishi, Chevy, GMC, and Toyota had the same score. As for getting the best price on regular service and repairs, Do your homework first. We always say that, but it's true. An increasingly popular tool is portable car diagnostic scanners. Now, they sell online for less than $100. You plug them into your car, and when something is going wrong, it lets you know. And most of the time, it can diagnose a problem similar to what a mechanic can do. Once you have an idea of what the problem might be, you'll want to research what those repairs might cost. Consumer Reports has a great repair cost estimator on their website. Plug in your vehicle's info, the problem, and you'll get an estimate before you ever even talk to a mechanic. Both tools potentially saving you money in unnecessary or overpriced repairs.
Good afternoon, and boy, you've got to just love this weather that's going on again today. High pressure definitely in control. No rain showing up on radar, although this evening there still is a slight possibility that maybe along Collier County we could see a shower or two, but that's really about it. Temperatures still in the low to mid 80s. High today in Fort Myers was 86 degrees, but it's that lower humidity that makes all the difference in the world. East-southeasterly winds 5 to 10, maybe a little gust up to 15 today, but winds were a lot less than yesterday. Look at these dew points. This is so comfortable, so unbelievable. If you can at all, get outside this evening and enjoy it before all the stickiness starts as we head into probably April into May. Pagefield right now, 85 degrees, humidity 36%. We are expecting partly cloudy skies this evening, and again, that little shower is possible down to the south. Temperatures will drop to about 70 degrees by 1 a.m. Overnight lows in the 60s. Coming up, we had historic flooding, tornadoes, and strong winds. Where and why?
More than 150 veterans walked away with free lunch this morning, and it was all thanks to the community cooperative. Veterans and their families lined up at the Lee County VA Healthcare Center in Cape Coral, and they could pick from a variety of food, including loaves of bread, some canned goods, fresh veggies. One World War II veteran says he actually loves these kind of events because it feels like he's getting to see old friends.
And I enjoy that. I enjoy people. I enjoy talking to them.
And I'm like, the cooperative also got a little bit of help too. Fort Myers native and NFL Jaguar player Tommy Bohannon was also there to help hand out the food.
It hits home because these people have given so much to our country and to each and every one of us just for freedom. So, I mean, to be able to give back to them in any way possible, you know, I hold that near and dear to my heart.
Beautiful to see him give back. His foundation will also be holding a pickup ball event tomorrow afternoon at Dunbar High School in Fort Myers. And that's when those young athletes will get to go head-to-head with some not quite as young athletes on the Lee County Sheriff's Office. Chris?
Let's get this news feed started with authorities in Nigeria looking for survivors after a school collapse this week. At least 8 people died. It's still unclear what caused this collapse. Former Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke is in for 2020. Democratic Congressman officially announcing that he is running for president today. Also made his first campaign stop in Iowa this morning. Well, we already know it is a tough world for brick and mortar stores out there, but one is almost, you would say, thriving. Dollar General is expanding. Company announcing today that it plans to open 975 stores in the U.S. this year. Experts point to Dollar General targeting more rural communities as a reason for its success. Gotta show you this video here and buckle up, it's terrifying. Watch the right side of your screen there. Mother Nature bringing down a giant light pole. This was right in the middle of a soccer game. This happened in Arkansas. There were some 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Now that pole, it grazed a player and it hit a referee.
He was face down at the moment and he was kind of screaming, but I heard that he was also calm when he got to the ambulance pretty well, but he was screaming at the moment, and I kind of just pulled the bar off him, and then that's when everybody started crowding up.
My head was swollen pretty bad to begin with. My hands got torn up. I had 7 stitches in my knee.
Unbelievable. The field was quickly evacuated. Some other light poles, they were shaking in the wind. Now the referee had a broken leg and some other fractures that required surgery. When it comes to self-driving cars, a majority of us just aren't on board just yet with the idea. For the last few years, AAA has been asking Americans what they think about self-driving cars, and really at first we were warming up to it, but now it appears we're just more worried after several high-profile crashes. 3 out of 4 Americans are afraid to ride in a fully self-driving car. Now we are a little more accepting of the idea of having our groceries and packages dropped off by a fully autonomous vehicle. Well, check this out here. This is a promising side effect of the super bloom happening in California right now. millions of painted lady butterflies are migrating across the state. The number of butterflies, it's been going down for decades in California. Scientists say rain, though, has helped them rebound this year. Well, you may know the movie Black Klansman was certainly a hit this year, and that film is bringing some new attention to the former police officer who infiltrated the KKK, why he thinks his story is resonating decades later. That's next.
Steve Ramp.
Tonight, the fiance of an inmate in the Charlotte County Jail is claiming her loved one isn't getting access to the tablets that all the inmates are supposed to be able to get access to. In 2018, inmates at the Charlotte County Jail were given access to tablets as a way to contact their loved ones, check emails, and keep up with their education. The jail has 605 inmates, and according to a Charlotte County lieutenant, every inmate does have access to these devices throughout the day. But the fiance of one of the inmates is claiming he is not getting access to his tablet. She says her fiance filed a grievance, and because of it, the Charlotte County Jail says they're not going to comment on the specific complaint, but they say in general, everyone does get access.
But all inmates are afforded a chance to use the tablet. That does not mean they get to keep a tablet for 24 hours.
Coming up in a little bit on Fox 4 News at 6, you're going to hear more from the Charlotte County